Rings of Saturn. Not everything looks lovelier the longer and closer its inspection, but Saturn does. It is gorgeous through earthly telescopes. However, the 13 years of close observation provided by Cassini, an American spacecraft, showed the planet, its moons, and its remarkable rings off better and better, revealing finer structures, striking novelties, and greater drama. It's like wine. It's aging well. The more we know about it, the more we like it. And it's a passage in astronomy. Sorry for that. By and large, the big things in the solar system, planets and moons, are thought of as having been around since the beginning. The suggestion that rings and moons are new is though made even more interesting by the fact that one of those moons, Enceladus, is widely considered the most promising site in the solar system on which to look for alien life. Anything on space and system, always a link to alien life. That's what makes the whole thing exciting. If Enceladus is both young and bears life, that life must have come into being quickly. This is also believed to have been the case on Earth. This is quickly in solar terms, okay? So a few 100 million years or a few tens of million years. Keep that in mind. Very true on Enceladus, that would encourage the idea that life evolves easily when conditions are right, in a few million years. That is the easily we're talking about. One reason for thinking Saturn's rings are young is that they are bright. The solar system is suffused with comet dust, and comet dust is dark. Leaving Saturn's ring system, which Cassini has shown to be more than 90% water ice, out in such a mist is like leaving laundry hanging on a line downwind from a smokestack. It will get dirty. The lighter the rings are, the faster this will happen. For the less mass they contain, the less celestial pollution they can absorb before they start to discolor. Jeff Cousy, a scientist at America's Space Agency NASA, who helped run Cassini, told the Lunar and Planetary Science Conference in Houston that combining the mass estimates with Cassini's measurements of the density of comet dust near Saturn suggests the rings are no older than the first dinosaurs, nor younger than the last of them. That is, they're somewhere between 200 million and 70 million years old. So the reasoning is very interesting. It's basically saying if they had been around forever, they would have been darker by now. If the rings were heavy, they could have absorbed it. They're light rings. It's like taking a sparkling white dhoti, making it hang near a factory. If it's hanging for 2 hours, it will become grey. If it is white, it must have been hanging there only for maximum of 11 to 12 minutes. Or more accurately, not just a maximum of 11 to 12 minutes, between 4 and 8 minutes based on how grey it is or how still it is white enough. That's what they're doing right now. Right? So, the timing fits well with the theory put forward in 2016 by Matija Cook of the SETI Institute in California and his colleagues. They suggest that at around the same time as the rings came into being, an old set of moons orbiting Saturn destroyed themselves. And from their remains emerged not only the rings, but also the planet's current suite of inner moons: Rhea, Dione, Tethys, Enceladus, and Mimas. Oh, it's very interesting. The Saturn's origin stories are very interesting. A few moons destroyed, and a new moons came in. Dr. Cook and his colleagues used computer simulations of Saturn's moon's orbits as a sort of time machine. Looking at the rate at which tidal friction is causing these orbits to lengthen, they extrapolated backwards to find out what those orbits would have looked like in the past. Nice. They discovered that about 100 million years ago, the orbits of two of them, Tethys and Dione, would have interacted in a way that left the planes in which they orbit markedly tilted. They would have been in some kind of collision course with some gravitational fields or something like that. But their orbits are untilted. The obvious, if unsettling conclusion was that this interaction never happened. And thus, that at the time when it should have happened, Dione and Tethys were simply not there. They must have come into being later. Oh, brilliant. If we go back in time and we reverse engineer their orbital paths, it's telling us that there's something funny should have happened 100 million years ago. But data is saying that something funny didn't happen. So what does it mean? This means that this Tethys and Dione came into being after that 100 million year ago event, or they're recent, which reinforces what are Cassini and Mr. Jeff Cousy saying. I'm very poor with names. I need to keep looking back to find the names. The main objective of the passage is to provide evidence that Saturn's rings and moons are recent creations. Probably like that. And so the fact that they are recent is what it all comes back to. Cassini is interesting, it's beautiful, all that is good. But there are two strands of thought process. One is the color of the rings, and the other is this orbital path thing. Both are saying, hinting strongly. They're building up to the point that Saturn is far younger, or the Saturn's rings are far younger than what we thought them to be. And so A looks interesting. Let's look at B. Highlight the beauty, finer structures, and celestial drama of Saturn's rings and moons. The beauty is hinted at. Celestial drama, their origin story is hinted at, but it's about the science, not the drama, celestial drama. Demonstrate how the orbital patterns of Saturn's rings and moons change over time. We're not demonstrating anything. These are still at the hypothesis conjecture stage, and this is not the main objective. Establish that Saturn's rings and inner moons have been around since the beginning of time. This is wrong. In fact, it is looking to establish that Saturn's rings and inner moons have not been around since the beginning of time. Choice A it is. Based on information provided in the passage, we can infer that in addition to water ice, Saturn's rings might also have small amounts of methane and rock particles. I don't think I remember seeing any methane anywhere. Rock particles and comet dust. Yes. So I like this choice. Helium and methane. No methane, no helium. Helium and comet dust. No chemical particle was mentioned. Helium, methane were not mentioned. Rock particles and comet dust. That's it. Based on information provided in the passage, we can conclude all of the following except Saturn's lighter rings discolor faster than rings with greater mass. Yes, celestial mass can help absorb celestial dust. So this is mentioned. We can conclude this. Tethys and Dione are less than 100 million years old. We can conclude this as well. That's strongly hinted. None of Saturn's moons ever had suitable conditions for life to evolve. No basis for this. I think that's our choice. Saturn's rings were created from the remains of older moons. This is also concluded. This is also hinted at strongly. None of Saturn's moons ever had suitable conditions for life to evolve. No basis for that. Choice C. The phrase leaving laundry hanging on a line downwind from a smokestack is used to explain how the ringed planets, let me get this, the rings are still light. They have not gathered comet dust. That's the answer we are looking for. The ringed planet's atmosphere absorbs comet dust. No. Moons create a gap between the rings. No. Rings discolor and darken over time. Yeah. Rings discolor and darken over time. This one's rings are not that discolored, so this should be young. Fine, so the whole analogy is you leave laundry hanging on a line downwind from a smokestack, that will get discolored over time. And if that is not discolored, then it is not being hanging around for too long. Rings lose mass over time. No. Choice C. Data provided by Cassini challenged the assumption that, let's read the choices. All big things in the solar system have been around since the beginning. We've got a winner. Precisely that. The entire passage is about how some parts of the Saturn ecosystem are young by kind of galactic solar systemic standards, and they're probably not older than 110 million years. Right. New celestial bodies can form from the destruction of old celestial bodies. This is not evidenced by Cassini. This is based on the orbital things, and the second piece done by, I think, Mr. Cook. Saturn's ring system is composed mostly of water ice. Cassini is not challenging that assumption. Cassini is providing evidence that 90% is water ice. There was life on Earth when Saturn's rings were being formed. That is the assumption that Cassini is supporting, not challenging. And all big things in the solar system have been around since the beginning. That is being challenged. Cassini is saying these rings came into being recently. The moons came into being recently. Rings specifically for Cassini. Choice A.